TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donations.
Shalom and Erev Tov. Good evening, I am Ayan Hessen and this is TV7 Israel News broadcast to you from Jerusalem. U.S. President Donald Trump reiterates his call for Hamas to release all of the living hostages. Israeli Finance Minister Betzalel Smotrich unveils a plan to assert Israeli sovereignty over 84% of Judea and Samaria. IAEA Director General Rafael Grossi calls on Iran to cooperate with its nuclear program. 48 Israeli hostages, both living and deceased, are still being held captive by the Islamist Hamas and other Palestinian terror groups in the Gaza Strip. Today marks 699 days since their abduction on October 7, 2023. As the IDF prepares for a high-intensity offensive in Gaza City, Hamas released a statement claiming readiness to negotiate a comprehensive ceasefire and hostage deal. However, Israeli officials quickly dismissed the statement as a stalling tactic meant to delay Israel's looming offensive. The Prime Minister's office responded, saying, "The war can end immediately on the terms set by the Security Cabinet, releasing all hostages, disarming Hamas, demilitarizing the Gaza Strip, Israeli security control of the Gaza Strip, and establishing an alternative civilian administration that will not promote terrorism or threaten Israel." Echoing the Israeli calls, U.S. President Donald Trump published a statement of his own, in which he asserted, "Tell Hamas to immediately give back all 20 hostages, not 2, 5, or 7, and things can change rapidly. It will end." Meanwhile, in Jerusalem, hundreds of Israeli protesters gathered in front of the Knesset, the Israeli parliament, and in front of the Prime Minister's office in Jerusalem.
We came here today to demonstrate in front of the House of the Parliament, to demonstrate and to tell them to bring our hostages back home and to end the war. We need our soldiers back home. We need our hostages back home now. It's been too long for them to stay there. Stop the war now.
Regrettably, the demonstrations escalated as several dumpsters in the city were set on fire, damaging nearby vehicles. In a video statement, Prime Minister Netanyahu responded by condemning the protesters, accusing them of fascist-like behavior.
In a democracy, demonstrations are legitimate. However, what is happening in the financed, organized, and political protests against the government, which have crossed every line, is that they are vandalizing property, blocking roads, making millions of citizens miserable, and chasing after elected officials and their children on their way to kindergarten and school. They are threatening to murder me, the Prime Minister, and my family on a daily basis. They are also setting fires. They said that they will surround my home, the home of the Prime Minister, with a ring of fire, just like fascist gangs. They lit a fire on Charlap Street, right next to my house, and this fire spread to a car that belongs to Yoav Barishai, a major in the IDF reserves, the grandson of Yaakov Naaman, who was an exemplary finance minister and justice minister in the state of Israel. This year, Yoav has served around 260 days, in 3 rounds, in both Gaza and Lebanon. He serves as an officer in an elite armored corps unit. He has 3 daughters. They burned his car. His wife cannot take the kids. Then they volunteered to finance the purchase of a new car. Don't do any favors. Don't make us laugh. You talk about democracy? You talk and behave just like fascists.
Netanyahu continued by calling on the police to enforce the law, by identifying and prosecuting those responsible.
What is happening here is simple. There is no enforcement, and when there is no enforcement, there is escalation. Indeed, they started by breaking through roadblocks and afterwards attempted to break through fences, and afterwards fired flares that almost burned a security guard to death near my house, and now they are making a ring of fire. Where is the enforcement? It doesn't exist. There is no selective enforcement. There is no enforcement at all. This must change. This is what I demand of the enforcement authorities. This is what the people of Israel demand in order for there to be democracy here.
Turning to Belgium, where Deputy Prime Minister Maxime Prévost voiced satisfaction over his successful ploy, pushing his government towards recognizing a Palestinian state.
I'm satisfied because I think that we are for moral reasons, but also for legal ones, the obligation to conclude an agreement within the Belgian coalition and also to send a strong signal to Israel in order to explain that the government absolutely needs to stop the expansion of the illegal settlements. And if we want a solution with two states, as the name mentioned it, we need two states. And now, with the attitude of the Israeli government, the possibility of having a two-state solution is in danger. It's why we've decided to recognize, in order to send a strong diplomatic signal, the state of Palestine in New York in the coming weeks, thanks to the initiative of Saudi Arabia and France.
The Belgian top diplomat continued by claiming that Brussels has no intention of rewarding Palestinian terrorism, and therefore will only grant formal recognition of a Palestinian state after all hostages are released and Hamas is removed from Gaza.
We also would like to avoid to give a kind of reward to the terrorist group of the Hamas. And so the Belgian government also decided that even if we recognize the state of Palestine as a politic and diplomatic signal in the coming weeks in New York, we will operationate this recognition on an administrative and legal basis later when the different hostages will be released and Hamas no more involved in the management, in the governance of Palestine.
Back in Israel, Finance Minister Betzalel Smotrich held a press conference, calling for Israel's assertion of sovereignty over roughly 84% of Judea and Samaria.
The time has come to apply Israeli sovereignty to Judea and Samaria, to once and for all remove from the agenda the idea of dividing our tiny land and establishing a terror state in its center. We have no desire to apply our sovereignty on population that wants to destroy us. Enemies should be fought against, not allowed a comfortable life. That is why the chief principle for applying sovereignty, get it well into your heads. This is the slogan: maximum territory, minimum population.
Minister Smotrich warned that any move to establish a Palestinian state within the so-called 1967 borders would render Israel indefendable.
Who can defend a state with such small strategic depth? And this is why the goal of the sovereignty is to, once and for all, remove the Palestinian state from the agenda. And this is done when applying to all of the territory, other than Arab population centers. I have no interest in letting them enjoy what the state of Israel has to offer.
It is important to note that reports of significant pressure emanating from the United States and the United Arab Emirates have triggered a decision to delay cabinet meetings that were expected to focus on Israeli annexation of Judea and Samaria. Turning to Vienna, where the Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency, Rafael Grossi, underscored the urgency for his agency to inspect Iran's nuclear sites. He noted that the IAEA has not received reliable information on Iran's stock of near-weapons-grade uranium since June.
The latest we knew of it was in June. That is the reality. There is information in the public domain coming from satellite images and common knowledge and also statements from Iran. They have addressed the issue on different occasions, different people. So I believe there is a general understanding that by and large the material is still there, but of course it needs to be verified. Some could have been lost, and there are ways, technical ways, to determine this. So this is what we are waiting for.
Grossi further warned that without inspections, assessments remain sheer speculation.
We need to go. I mean, nothing, the rest will be pure speculation. We really need to go and they have to tell us where the material is. This is material under safeguards. So, and they haven't said no to the principle. They have all these caveats and characterizations of their national security concerns and the new system that they have in place.
The nuclear watchdog head added that the agency continues to push Tehran to return to a diplomatic track.
We are trying to have another meeting, perhaps within a few days now, here in Vienna, to conclude this and to start the inspections, also to receive, you know that the agreements include the obligation for Iran to produce a report when there is a change in the inventory, in the amount of the material, or something has altered the overall situation. They have to report to us what is the situation, so we have to study that and then send our inspectors to see whether, to ascertain whether that is correct or not.
Iran, however, maintains its defiant stance, insisting that the latest agency personnel to visit Iran were merely there to service the civilian Bushehr nuclear reactors, which Israel did not strike during the 12-day war. Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News. Please continue to pray for the hostages and for the peace of Jerusalem. I am Ayan Hessen. Until our next update, Shalom from Jerusalem.